There are moments when life feels certain in desire, but uncertain in direction, where you can clearly sense where you want to end up, yet the route refuses to appear. And in that space between knowing what you want and not knowing how to reach it, frustration takes root. And if frustration lingers long enough, it turns into resignation from your own destiny. Because you start believing you were wrong about yourself, or that maybe the feeling in your soul was just wishful thinking. You can counter this frustration with the understanding that the path is never fully shown at the beginning. It is revealed through alignment. When your inner compass, your values, intuition, and actions harmonizes with your desired destination. So how do you become aligned? First, you make your vision consistent. This means you stop treating your destination as an occasional thought and start treating it as a fixed reference point in your mind. You describe it clearly and return to it repeatedly. You no longer drift between different outcomes every day, but instead return to one defined picture of where you are going. Second, you connect the outcome to emotion. This means you stop seeing the destination as something distant and abstract, and you start experiencing it internally as if it already carries meaning in your life. If your destination is financial freedom, you do not just see yourself having a lot of money. You see what that money does for you. You see the ability to wake up without fear. You see the silence of a phone that no longer rings with pressure or demands you cannot meet. You see standing in a grocery store and placing what you want into the cart without hesitation or calculation. You see saying no to overtime because your time no longer belongs to survival. You see helping someone you care about without first measuring what you will lose. And you feel the weight of pressure starting to loosen from your daily decisions. This is necessary because when emotion is attached to vision, the destination stops being an idea and starts becoming a direction your mind naturally returns to. Third, you protect the consistency of that state. This means you become careful about what repeatedly enters your attention. If your end goal is financial freedom, you stop feeding your mind with information, environments, and conversations that keep you anchored in limitation, pressure, and survival thinking. Because what you repeatedly expose yourself to does not stay external. It becomes internal. It starts shaping what you expect from life, and what you expect from life shapes what you attempt, so you become intentional. You stop giving equal attention to everything. You choose what strengthens your end goal's clarity. You spend more time around ideas that expand thinking, stories of people building, creating, rising, solving problems, or finding new ways forward. Not because those things are the full path, but because they keep your mind in a state where direction can actually be recognized when it appears. Fourth, you consistently hold the feeling that matches the outcome. This means you do not only visualize the destination, you begin to carry the internal state of someone aligned with it. If financial success is the destination, then gratitude becomes part of your emotional posture. Not because everything is already physically present, but because gratitude keeps your mind oriented toward what is forming instead of what is missing. You also carry calmness, because urgency belongs to survival, not direction. And you also carry respect for your own progress, even when it is still invisible externally. Then you begin to respond to life from that state, instead of reacting from pressure. In doing so, your mind stops resisting your destination and starts accepting it as something you are already moving toward. Fifth, you hold the belief that the outcome is already unfolding toward you. This is not denial of reality. It is trust in direction. You stop treating your destination as something fragile that depends entirely on visible proof, and instead, treat it as something that becomes clearer as you stay aligned. If you are religious, this is where prayer becomes part of the process. You speak to God with gratitude, not only for what is already in your life, but for what is being formed through your path, trusting that guidance will meet you through timing, decisions, and opportunities you could not predict. Then you believe. The Bible says in Mark 11:24, "Therefore I tell you, Whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. If you are not religious, the same principle still holds. You simply believe that the universe is always working for your highest good. You trust that when you are aligned, that is, when your thoughts, emotions, and actions stay consistent, the universe will bring the desire to life through people, ideas, and situations that naturally point you forward. Finally, you act. The Bible says in James 2:17, "Faith by itself, if it is not accompanied by action, is dead." But since you do not yet know the precise action to take because you only know the destination, your action is not follow a business plan you do not yet have. Your action is exposure. You expose yourself to information, to people, to stories, to ideas, without filtering them through your current limited understanding of what is relevant. If your end goal is financial freedom, you learn about financial success, yes, but not restricted to your current career or work. Why? Because you trust that the universe or God will give you your desired outcome, but you do not know how, because the how is not your job. So you remain open to possibilities. This means that you stay open in conversations with people because direction can appear through a single sentence. You can hear something you would normally ignore, but in that moment, it lands differently, or it connects internally in a way you cannot fully explain, but you recognize it. You take that idea and you don't dismiss it based on where you are now. You hold it, reflect on it, and allow it to point you toward direction for your destination. And later, when you eventually reach your envisioned goal, you realize that knowing the what was enough to guide the discovery of the how through movement, openness, and alignment. So what do you want your life to become? Is it stability that removes constant pressure from your decisions? Is it financial freedom that allows you to choose your time instead of selling it under pressure? Is it a life where you are no longer repeating the same cycle, but building something that feels aligned with who you believe you are becoming? Whatever it is, let it be clear enough that it becomes your reference point, the thing that shapes your attention, your openness, and your movement, even when the path is not yet visible.